All right, Alice. Day one of Jennifer Crumbly's involuntary manslaughter trial filled with emotional testimony as well as disturbing video of the Oxford shooter on a gun range.
Now, we have been streaming the trial live. Christy McDonald's been following it all day long. She joins us now with some perspective on how this case is setting up. Christy?
Yeah, Karen and Devin, it was a very long day. Testimony just wrapped up after 5 o'clock. A lot of interesting things coming out, though, today. So I want to bring in George Danini. He is a defense attorney from Butzel to join me right now. George, it's good to see you. Let's talk a little bit about the tone of the opening statements. The defense referenced Taylor Swift off the top and a lyric there. The prosecution says one small decision could have changed everything here in this case. There's going to be 400 exhibits, 20 to 25 witnesses. How important is it to set the tone for both sides in those opening statements?
Sure. So in an opening statement, you want to capture the jurors' attention. You want them thinking about the case from your perspective. So, on the defense side, you mentioned this Taylor Swift song. I think maybe Band-Aids and that reference made sense. Talking about bullet holes, I don't know if that's the strongest thing for the defense to be arguing, but I understood the Band-Aids piece. And then, look, the prosecution put forward a bunch of evidence or information about what's going to be seen, and they made it clear that while she didn't pull the trigger, and this is part of the prosecution's opening, they said that's why it's not murder, but there were things that could have been done, and that's what makes this manslaughter instead.
All right, one of the really...
note, too, though, that...
I was going to say one of the really interesting things, though, that came out in the opening statements from defense is that they said that Jennifer Crumbly is going to testify in her defense. How significant is that?
Yeah, obviously a criminal defendant has no obligation to testify. It's the prosecution's burden to prove somebody's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So that is a, risky, I guess, proposition to promise at the outset that the defendant is going to testify in her own defense. Again, no obligation to do it, and typically you wouldn't promise that in an opening statement.
All right, I want you to talk a little bit about the back and forth between the defense and the prosecution today about how much emotion can be showed in court, because Jennifer Crumbly was crying during some of the testimony and video that was shown, and the two sides kind of mixed it up about saying, look, we thought that we were trying to try to move forward without too much emotion here. What did you make of that exchange?
Yeah, look, the question is this genuine emotion, or is it feeding into the defense theory that, there's no way she could have known that her son or child would do such a thing? And so, I think the prosecution is making the point it's too much. It's more of a show, and the defense is saying this is genuine emotion that she's feeling, and she can't be asked to curtail what she genuinely believes. And so that'll be up to the judge to evaluate.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of emotion in court. We know that some families of victims were there as well today. So make sure that you come back and join us. We're going to be streaming day 2 here on Local 4+. George, we really appreciate your time. So Devin and Karen, we're going to send it back to you, but make sure you join us again tomorrow for day 2 of testimony.
Yeah, what a fascinating day 1. Exactly. All right, Christy.
Yeah.